Okay.
The beauty of the bootleg is it's the best. You're getting the best that never been revealed, the best that never really been seen, the best the underground can buy, the best but must be hidden, protecting pearls, bearing bamboo, loving lotus, bootlegs. The best bootleg we ever knew was the Black Album. Title alone says it all. Black, blank of details, full of secrets. The original Black Album was said to be a double album. That's a lot of secrets, a lot of hidden away specialness, a lot of good ish that we never got at. Can you imagine that? 2 records worth, 4 sides. That's part of the magic of the bootleg, the mystery it's supposed to be revealing. But there can be no denying the treasures are there though, pirate style or no. Our rhythms make it through veils, undergrounds, labels, covers, generations, ports, borders, ages, neighborhoods. And just like the bootleg, we end up in these neighborhoods, in these buildings that feel like bootlegs of our American dream photos. Side 1, Wellwind Limited, 900 block of Mission Street. Loving Lotus. Jen.Ay arrives, holding the hand of her own mother, but she, the daughter, leading the mother, already as a 14-year-old fresh off the boat. And from the port of San Francisco, straight to where they were supposed to stay, Filipinas, fair though they were, still Filipinas, and not Americans, so Chinatown seemed right, but before they made it there even, Jen.Ay stopped. Was stopped by a song coming out of a radio. Whether it was the song or the idea of a song and a radio come real life in the United States with the sudden melting of English-speaking voices singing to rows of apparently English-speaking ears, who knows? But it stopped Jen.Ay. And she let her own nice hand slip away as she slipped toward the door of this shop. What would become and would be known now as a sweatshop, but the only sweat she saw was what she felt as she taught herself these songs of doo-wopping dances 1950s. 1956 R&B, before that boy Elvis's big year, melodies that felt like symphonies to her ears, used to much sappier love songs, but these songs made her want to dance back in time, using steps that mixed her Pinay feet into this American orchestration, and the words floated her. But to hear it here, she could dance it here, and she did. Getting her first job while she left her own mother at home in what ended up not being Chinatown, but on the border approaching it, perfect for her, Jen.Ay, to then walk to work, to sit at one of these rows of machines, Wellwind Limited, to sew and sew, but still her underground attraction was to sing along while the sewing was going, and she could hum as the song in her kept growing. And by the time she finally met the boy she would dance with to it, her feet were still the Pinay girls who walked Intramuros streets with the nuns on the way back from school. Still the ones that learned to traipse barefooted and ritualize. But wouldn't it be something to dance a real ballroom dance, a ballet, behind us machines after work or not, seen by no one or not? She could do her own orchestration, bootlegging the ballets of downtown buildings in her own version of debutante dance, for her landing in America, from the boat to her ballet. Side 2, Powwow Lounge, 100 block of 6th Street, bearing bamboo. The boy that Jen.Ay danced with found a good way to dance, but a bad way to be. Still, a baby was what came out of this dance. And that first baby was a boy who found his way to these same streets still, 20 years something later, on his own voyage back to the Bay. Landing a refugee of his own family, an immigrant back to the country of his birth. He got sent back to the islands for being a bastard. A double bastard. Jen.Ay lost that boy that she birthed the boy with, her ballet duet, doomed from the first dip. And the boy, though barely a baby, was just bad. What them say, you can be as good as the best of them, but as bad as the rest. Well, he wasn't showing no signs of that good, except how to be bad. And Jen.Ay, she was about a bad step away from being sent back herself, being a girl with a baby like that. So this boy got sent back. It kind of reversed balik bayang box. He would have been returning home, but he had never been there, so he was raised there. And by the time he busted out of the boxes of being an American-born boy living in the islands, it was time to come home, away from home. But he was bad. And he put all that bad into one way of moving, like fighting. Boom, 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 was how he scrapped in Intramuros. But Intramuros was now becoming what is called in the States gentrified. So imagine this boy bursting to be, in his own barrio was becoming something better than him before his own eyes. It made him mad. It made him want to beat things down and go boom. But that boom became a pop. And he popped and unlocked some stuff in him almost as soon as he touched back down in the States, landing in the cheaper and longer flight to the more crowded and crazier LAX to have to find his way back up north to his mother, still in San Francisco. He did, but Greyhound just ain't that cheap. And when you bad, you don't want to just stay on the bus, back of the bus, or the front of the ride. So he got off in every damn town he could and learned every damn dance he could, from Inglewood to Northridge to Fresno, where during the inauguration of a president, walking down the streets to the White House, how bicentennial for real, he saw a girl doing a salsa he had never seen shiver him so, really. And they took their time getting up the rest of the coast. With her salsa hips and his popping licks, his fists finally felt like reaching out, not just pop, pop, popping. But when you're caught between 3 languages and entering your second first city, it gets so confusing, going from fists of fury to feeling for a female to freaking out when full step, too funky when you just trying to figure out what a dance floor feels like. And there they were, not but 2 months removed from floating around Fresno, her and her salsa fever, him flashing forward back on his Filipino streets, not in this future that felt more black market than the backlots of the newly made malls in Manila. And there it was, as the two of them hit the jukebox with the last of their quarters to dance their debut to this new city duet in the dip in the bar. He started to pop lock at the powwow lounge when a "Why, partner?" fight broke out alongside the pool table, and as he stepped out of popping tautness and softened his stance to pull her away from the funk, this fracas over foolishness, he got cracked alongside his unfocused skull and fell out. The one moment it was not focused to pop, he was popped, and poof, powwow. The native son was done. Site 3, VYDC, 100 block of Eddie, protecting pearls. but never too late to be made room for more. Jen.Ay had become a new wife and made other lives, and here she was, moved out, and out of the city finally, but not forever. Her fourth daughter, yes, she danced, but she was much sharper and had her eyes open even when she was lost in the dance. Maybe because she was born outside of the sights of these sudden migrations, but maybe still because she was so magnetically still, returning to the same scene that sent her mother silently screaming at the loss and the loss. But her fourth daughter, held forth for years at a service center, and though not for Filipinos, the waves of the 1980s and again in early 1990s had brought more Southeast Asians than ever. And so she settled in the service center that supported the part of Southeast that she had never seen, Vietnam, and all the immigrant children. And there she met her, the daughter that maybe her deceased older brother she never met could have had. A lovely preciousness, a pearl, the kind her father stole off the docks in Makati, where he poached all the perch boats. This is what this young one was, the protected pearl, bearing bamboo, loving lotus. For she, like Jen.Ay, could speak it all, Viet, Chinoise, English above all, but held her tongue because she loved the most the flow of the trannies and the ones she couldn't tell. He walked with a flourish on the other side of the block that made up the Tenderloin of 1996. These queens who were unafraid of AIDS, unaware of the adoring eyes, appreciating the struggle that they screamed with style, while she, pearly one, stood silent, but full of flow herself. She stood in the window of the youth center, practicing the arch and flow of the traditional Viet-Thai Kulintang tribalness, while watching the feathers flap on these fine young things out to show out. And so she did, left one day and followed the boy girls, this silent pearl girl, and danced her dance not in the shadow but on the same street as these boys, servant style till their T-cells collapsed them, and she was left to carry them on in her own way, dolo now. Side 4, 2016. Bring it more.